The funny thing about tolerance versus acceptance is if you're not careful and you're unaware of the truth about the two, then they'll look alike. Acceptance will mirror tolerance when you are fighting to gain it from the people that you want it from, but they don't necessarily accept who you are. And so what you do is you start finding out how they view acceptance, how they view giving their attention to somebody, and then you start doing the things it takes to get their attention. I remember when I was in high school, after probably about almost 10 years of being teased and taunted or whatever. And I remember I moved to a different city than I was in before. And I came into high school and I saw that the kids at the high school, based upon the kids back home, looked totally different. They looked like adults, they didn't look like children. And so when I was in this new environment, I thought I would just blend in. The school was huge. It was so big. But then, of course, that gets narrowed down when you start being in classrooms and, in individual groups with other peers. And so I noticed once again, they wouldn't accept me. I was too black. They didn't like my clothes. They didn't like what I wore. And so I began to mirror what they did and how they wore clothes and how they conducted themselves. I began to mirror how they carried themselves in the ways that got them attention. See, attention, tolerance, and acceptance are all different things, and you'll settle for attention and tolerance when you really don't understand that what you really need is true acceptance. And you'll settle for attention and tolerance from people that don't even deserve your presence. They don't deserve you because they don't accept you for who you originally are in the first place. But when you're crying for acceptance and all you want is those particular people to give you their attention, you'll do whatever it takes. And I watched how the girls would wear the short skirts, and they would how they would wear their hair and how they would conduct their behavior. And I began to mirror it. I begin to make my pants a little tighter so it can show my body a little more. I begin to wear my skirts a little shorter so it can show my legs a little more, so that I could get the attention that I saw the boys giving the other girls the attention when they saw them in their clothes. And guess what? It worked. It worked to get their attention. But what I truly wanted was acceptance. But because I didn't understand the difference, and to be honest with you, because I didn't care, and that's a whole nother thing. As long as they're giving me attention, to me, that is the definition of acceptance. But the truth about it is that is not. And that's when you get into the area of tolerance. See, they only tolerated me when I wore the tight clothes, when I wore the short skirts, when I did what they wanted me to do, and I conducted myself in the way that they would tolerate. But the moment I would decline and wear something that they didn't like, they would still be who they originally were. The same people that didn't accept me in the first place. And so you have to understand that when it comes to attention and tolerance, they are so bottom level when it comes to true acceptance. True acceptance says if you wear a jogging suit and a t-shirt, I still accept you for who you are if I'm really for you. If you like to wear your hair in a ponytail, it does not matter if the other girls are wearing bobs or wearing weaves and frontals and all of that. But true acceptance says if my friend or my girlfriend or whoever, said if she likes to wear ponytails, then I accept her ponytails. If she likes to wear jogging pants with her sneakers and t-shirts with her sweaters, she doesn't have to wear crop tops because that's not who she is. And so the thing about it is you'll see the difference between attention versus acceptance. I tolerate you when you're doing what I want. I tolerate you when you're showing me what I want you to show me. I tolerate the behavior when you're doing it and it's pulling on my tolerance of you. But true acceptance says, I accept you just the way that you are. And when you decline how others act, look, feel, and want you to behave, you can tell the difference when a person does not change how they act towards you. That's how you know the difference. When they don't change how they see you, how they talk to you, what they say to you when you be who you originally are. I'm praying I'm making sense to you. Because here's the thing with me. Even though I wore the tight clothes, my body, it was a little shapely. So to me, that worked in my favor. They would make comments about my body parts and how, I had good body parts and stuff, and they liked that. But here's the thing, and I want you to see something. The jokes, the taunting, the ridicule of my skin complexion never ceased. But now, because I was getting the attention and the tolerance in this area, I grafted towards what they were given to me. And that's how you'll know the difference when somebody tolerates you versus when somebody truly accepts you. Because when you be who you naturally are, their view of you does not change. And it's hard for you to see that when you are fighting just to get the attention that you want from them, because you can't discern and you can't tell the difference between attention and acceptance. And so what I would do is I would lean into, doing what they wanted even the more, even though the taunting and the teasing never stopped. I somehow in my mind found a way to balance and lean toward the attention that I was given, opposed to what they still didn't accept about me, which was me. And later in another video, we're going to talk about how I found what worked even the more, and I used it, which was my body. And so when you really get down to the truth about the difference between tolerance and acceptance, and attention for that matter, acceptance says, no matter what you are, who you are, and how you are, I want you for that. I love you for that. I want to hang around you for that. I accept who you are. I accept how short you are, how tall you are, how light skinned you are, how dark skinned you are, how your ears are, how your forehead is, whatever the case may be, I accept you. Tolerance says, come out of who you are to gain the attention from me that I'll give when you become who I want you to be. Don't wear the jogging pants, wear the short skirt. Don't wear the shoes that you like, wear these kind of shoes, because that's what everybody's wearing. Don't wear your hair like that, that's ugly, wear your hair like this. Don't hang around them over there, hang around these over here and do that, and we'll accept you in our group. But in order to hang with us, you got to do what we do. And for the most part, you don't want to do that. But it gets you the attention and the tolerance that you believe is acceptance, but there's a definite difference. And so I want you to just think about this in your spare time. Just think about if there's any ways that you have just truly misunderstood the difference. Misunderstood someone's tolerance of you versus their acceptance of you. And let me tell you something, I'll say it again. People who are really for you, really want to be your friend, really want to hang around you, they wouldn't want you coming out of your original state anyway. That's how you'll know who's for you. When you begin to act different and hang around different people and do different things, and your behavior pattern changes and all these things happen, they're able to identify and say, that's not you. See, that's how you tell a real friend from a fake one. Someone who loves you for real and someone who does not. When you begin to go against the grain of who you naturally are, they're able to call you on it and say, you don't behave that way. I remember when I was about 13 years old and I was, in this whole, fighting for acceptance thing. And I remember watching one of these wonderful. I think Dr. Juanita Bynum, I love her. I've loved her since I was 12 years old. And she's a preacher, a world-renowned preacher. And I just thought she was so beautiful and she was so powerful. And I love how she preached the word of God. And I remember I started watching her on TBN. And I wanted to watch her so bad, and I didn't want to miss out on it so much that I would set the timer on the TV for it to automatically turn the channel to TBN at the time where Dr. Juanita Bynum was preaching. And I was doing that, and that was my norm. That was who I was. God had called me to him at a young age, and I felt close to him. I felt when I was watching Dr. Juanita Bynum, that was what I wanted. When I was in the house doing the right thing, telling God, I want to preach like that too. I want to be able to be used by you in that way. That was my originality. And my mom noticed it. My family noticed it, and they loved it. But let me show you something. The moment where it changed and it flipped, and I had to come outside of who I originally was, the teenager who loved God for real, who wanted God, who, wanted to praise dance and wanted to preach and wanted to worship, not preach at that time, but one day eventually, and I wanted to do that. And when I started fighting for acceptance and getting the tolerance and the attention from people that I was getting it from, the people who had no business giving it to me and who didn't even deserve me, I started acting up. My grades started dropping. I started getting write-ups in school. The teacher would be calling my mom, coming to the house because of the clothes I would begin to wear, very short skirts, very short dresses. And I remember I got in trouble one day, and my mom said to me, well, let me ask you a question. What time does Dr. Juanita Bynum come on today? And I looked at her and I said, I don't know. And she said, exactly. You need to get back to that place. Because that was someone who was really for me, calling me out on my cry. They were calling me out on my behavior change, letting me know that, hey, what you're doing, number one, is not who you are. And number two, you're leaving the originality of Whitney, who loves God, who spends time with God, who, really wants to, she wants to praise dance. She wants to be who she is. But because that's not gaining acceptance and not, loving God per se, but being a good girl. No, I got to come out of that, and I got to go outside, and I got to act crazy, and I got to go to my friend's house and be over there where the boys at, and be over there where we cursing and drinking and smoking. I ain't got time to watch no Dr. Juanita Bynum. And my mom called me on it. And you'll notice people who are really for you, parents, peers, whoever, people who love you for real, people who accept you as who you are for real, they'll start calling you on it. And they'll start saying, so why are you acting different? What's this? Why are you behaving this way? Why are you doing these things? They'll say things like, that's not you. You don't do that. When did this happen? You're acting different. You're acting funny. What's wrong with you? That's how you can tell. And those are the people who truly accept you. Those are the people you don't have to fake for. Those are the people you don't have to pretend for. Those are the people who love you. Pay attention to them. Lean into them. You can breathe better when you hang with them because they're not expecting you to do anything or be anything any more different than what you already are, because that's acceptable. You can wear what you want to wear. You can wear your hair up in the ponytail that you like. You can wear the jeans you like. You can wear the jogging pants you like. You can wear the shoes you like. Because, hey, they accept you for who you are. It's easier over there. You're not so burdened down. You're not so pressured into coming out of who you are into something else. Lean into them. One of my books that I wrote for children is entitled Pretty Little Girl, You Are Good Enough. And one of the poems that I wrote in there, I said, believe the people who love you. Listen to the people who love you. I believe that's the name of it. The poem, listen to the ones that love you, because they gonna tell you the truth. You're smart. You're beautiful. You're amazing. If you did make a mistake, it's okay. Get back up and go at it again. If you did do something wrong, learn from it and do better next time. If you are slipping in some area, let me help you. Let's find out how we can get you help. But what you're not going to do is disregard who you originally are to become something you're not for the sake of somebody else. That's what we're not doing, especially when you have people who love and appreciate you for who you are. What we have to do on this page, on this platform, is start working on you loving and accepting yourself for who you are and coming out of the mindset of gaining acceptance by any means, because I do know what happens. And it's the very things that we're talking about in this video and that we will be talking about. I know what happens. And it takes you farther and farther away from who you were originally created to be. Listen to the ones that love you. Learn the difference between tolerance versus acceptance and put a little bit of attention in there. And when you really start paying attention, you'll start seeing who's for you and who's not. And I'm going to be here to help you, because let me tell you something. It's not going to be easy to come out of that, because you may see it. You may already be able to identify it. They just tolerate me. Or they're just giving me attention because I'm doing what they want. I'm doing what they say. I'm wearing what I'm wearing. I'm dressing how they're dressing. I'm giving them my body. They're just, tolerating me. They really don't like me. They ignore me. They don't pay me no attention. They don't call me. They don't text me. They don't invite me anywhere. They disregard me when they're done with me. And I'm telling you, you don't deserve that. I'm telling you, little sis, you do not deserve that. You deserve better. And so I'm here. I've been through it. I've done it. I've seen people walk away from me and ignore me when I wouldn't give them what they want, but only tolerate me when I was in their presence and doing what it is that they wanted me to do and being who they wanted me to be. But when I wanted to be who I was, it wasn't good enough. It was belittled, it was ridiculed, and it was rejected. And so I came out of who I was and turned into what somebody else wanted me to be. We ain't doing that no more. You are excellent at being you, and can't nobody be you like you can be you. And I can't wait until you see that. Leave a comment below. I would love to read it. I would love to hear from you. And just know I'm praying for you. I've been where you are. You are loved. You are appreciated, and you are good enough. Talk to you soon. Bye.